Hi, I'm Jody Decker, and I'm recording Yoga for Vacation for York County Library in South Carolina. For today's practice, you can grab a mat, or if you don't have a mat, a beach towel will work just fine. Optional props, if you have a yoga block, or even just a small, firm couch cushion, or even just set up next to a wall, so you can use that for balance. Let's start in a tall, comfortable seated position. Hands resting lightly on your lap. Let's close our eyes and begin to find our yoga breath. And as we flow today, we're going to practice on allowing our breath to carry us through our practice. We're going to focus on feeling each pose and how it's benefiting our body. And to take it one step farther, we could even express a thought of gratitude for what our bodies are able to do for us. A lot of times we're guilty with comparing maybe what we should look like or what we think a certain pose should look like, but instead of comparing, because that always dulls contentment, let's just bring our awareness in, practice the art of letting go, let go of expectations, judgment, and competition. Begin to bring the breath a little bit deeper, clearing the clutter from our minds. We're in charge of our own bodies. Let's quiet the chatter happening in our heads. Inhale just a little bit more length into your spine. And then exhale, release left ear over to the shoulder. Inhale, coming back up to the center, keeping eyes closed. Exhaling to the other side. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, turn, looking over the left shoulder. Release, coming back to center. Inhale, looking over the other side. And exhaling center. Let's release chin to the chest. And then slowly bring the chin up, placing palms on your collarbones, stretching through the front side of the neck. Release slowly and inhale, sweep both arms all the way up overhead. Exhale completely. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, sweeping arms up. Exhale, lowering. This time, interlace fingertips together and turn your palms straight up to the ceiling. Inhale, a little more length. Exhale over to your left, keeping hips connected to the mat. Inhaling center. And exhaling other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, release hands to the hips. And let's make a few circles. You're welcome to make the circle as small or as large as you want. Just listening to our bodies. Yoga is interesting because what we did last week or last practice may or may not feel good today. So we need to make adjustments each and every practice, reverse directions. We're also going to be working on some balance with today's practice, and that can definitely come and go as well. So things like stress level or how well you slept last night can all be indicators of how well we can balance on a given day. Come back to center, swing the knees behind you, and let's come into tabletop for cat-cow. So if you don't have an extra pad for your knees and you need a little more cushion, you can always double up your towel or your mat. So here we stack our hips on top of our knees and our shoulders above our wrist, and we inhale as we drop bellies down, bring the gaze up, and then exhale as we tuck and round. Slowly moving back and forth. One more. And then we're going to turn the toes under, lining your thumbs up so they're 4 to 6 inches apart, fingertips spread wide. And let's bicycle at our heels, coming into downward facing dog. Slowly start to make your way into a forward fold. So this can look a number of different ways. If you're really tight, maybe your hands are a little bit higher. Maybe you have your couch cushion or your block, or maybe you can comfortably reach your mat today. We're going to inhale, reverse swan dive, standing all the way up into a baby back bend, and then release hands to heart center. We have a short flow to create a little bit of warmth, heating up our bodies. So let's inhale, take your arms overhead, exhale, swan dive forward, coming back into your version of forward fold. Inhale, look up into monkey, hands to the shins. We're creating a long spine, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, reverse swan dive, reaching up into a slight back bend. Have a seat, Utkatasana or chair pose. That's the entire flow. Let's do it again. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up into monkey, long spine, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, reaching up, slight back bend. Have a seat, Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up into monkey. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, reaching all the way up, slight back bend. And have a seat. Let's run through this one more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up into monkey. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Slight back bend. Have a seat. Chair pose, but hold here as low as you can comfortably sit. Let's challenge our balance by lifting our left heel and then our right. Continue to alternate. See how that feels. Finding a focal point for your gaze. That's going to make balancing a little bit easier. And if you're comfortable here, alternating heels, challenge yourself by lifting both heels up. And if you want more of a challenge, side view is here. You can lift your heels higher, but drop the tailbone lower. So this is going to be a much more difficult position to balance in. Now staying on the balls of the feet. Try inhaling as we rise all the way up. Lift the heels a little higher. And exhale with control. Lower the heels down. Hands come back to heart center. Let's continue to balance by inhale, levitating or rising up onto the balls of the feet. Exhale, releasing down, hands to heart center. Inhale, lifting. And exhale, lowering. Legs stay straight. Such a simple movement, but it does require a lot of balance and functional core. If you want to challenge yourself more, lift the heels a little bit higher on each repetition. Last one here. Slowly bring the hands to heart center and take a breath in mountain pose. Moving into balancing tree. So this is where the wall can come in very handy, or even a sofa, deck ledge if you're outside practicing. We're going to start with our right foot. Picking up the toes of the right foot, spread them as wide as you can, so you're creating a nice firm base. Put a micro bend in the knee, and then start to draw the left leg up. And maybe you leave a kickstand down. This is fine. You can come here. You can come a little bit higher. We can have our hands at heart center. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, find the toe lock and extend the leg out. So really balancing tree. Find your focal point and breathe. Any of these options are perfectly okay. Inhale, bring the leg back in, and with control, exhale, release. And let's shake it out, shifting our hips from side to side. Moving to the other side. Go ahead and pick up the toes on the left foot, spread them wide as you go to set them down. Find your micro knee bend, and then draw the leg up. So maybe staying with your hands at heart center, maybe growing the branches of the tree, and maybe finding your toe lock and coming into balancing tree. Breathing. It's so much easier to balance with a soft knee. If you lock your joint out, it's going to be almost impossible to balance. On your next inhale, let's bring the knee back in, hands to heart center, and with control, lowering the leg and shaking it out. The only way to improve our balance is to practice our balance. Giant step back with your right foot. we're coming into warrior one. I have two mats going just so you can see different angles. So warrior one, our front knee is bent, hands can be at heart center, my back leg is long. You can have goalpost arms, you can reach straight up overhead. Pick the option that feels most comfortable to you. Now, option to stay right here in warrior one, or if you want an inversion, let's interlace fingertips together, pulling shoulder blades down and back, and slowly move into humble warrior. So the crown of the head will come down towards your mat as the hands continue to rise. And maybe today, this is feeling like too much movement. And you're welcome to be here in any capacity. So maybe you need to take child's pose and take a breather. That's fine. Inhale, slowly make your way back upright, and then open up warrior two. So let's focus on inviting our knee to open up. Bring it right on top of your heel. Arms are active, reaching from end to end. And we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, straightening both legs, and then exhale, bending our front knee. So side view. Inhale, opening, exhale, bending. With each repetition, maybe you can focus on deepening this knee bend just a little bit more. Last one, exhale, lower it into this deep warrior stance as low as you comfortably can. When you're ready, inhale, front palm lifts up. We're lifting, reaching, reverse warrior. Breathing through as we hold. Exhale, bend the elbow and reach up and over for extended angle. Inhale, sweep back up into warrior two, and let's step back to the top of your mat. We're going to step back with the opposite leg, finding warrior one. So remember, warrior one, your hips are squared to the front. And if you find that you're crowding your ears with your shoulders, go ahead and drop to goalpost or heart center. Exhale, a little more bend into the front knee, but peek over your knee and make sure you can still see the big toe. When you're ready, open up into warrior two. Knees stay stacked right on top of your heel. Just kidding, come back to warrior one. We need to go into humble warrior if you did that on the first side. So interlacing fingertips together. And if you didn't do this on the first side, just holding warrior one or moving into whatever pose you chose. Using our next inhale, slowly rising back up, opening up the arms, and finding warrior two. Bending our front knee, and now flowing. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale, bending front knee. A few more times. Last one. Taking a deep warrior stance, bending our front knee as deep as we can, settling in, inhaling, front palm lifts up, reaching up and back, reverse warrior. Release into extended angle. Inhale your way back upright. Big step up to the top of your mat. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hinge from your hips, swan dive forward. Pausing here in your forward fold. Begin to let your head and neck become very heavy, just dangling from the end of your spine. You can gently nod your head yes. You can shake your head no. And let's put a deeper bend in your knees, stepping back one knee at a time, coming back into tabletop. On our next inhale, let's take a giant step forward with the left foot. So we're coming into a supported lunge. My front knee is stacked right on top of my heel, and I'm pressing hips to the top of the mat. Most of us experience a lot of tightness here in the hip flexors, and sometimes this can refer pain and making it feel like low back pain. So we always want to spend some time doing some hip openers, ideally every day. A good time of day to do this stretch is after exercise when your muscles are warm, maybe taking a walk, or even after you're showered if it's a day that you're not exercising. To go a little deeper, you can inhale arms up, exhale into a little baby back bend. Inhale, hands to heart center, and exhale, release palms down, half splits. So I'm just straightening my front leg and pulling the big toe to my chin. Inhale, bend your knee, and then start to heel toe your foot across the mat, coming all the way down into pigeon pose. So it might be comfortable to tuck the back toes under and drag your hips back. Looks like this from side view. So tuck the toes under and then drag your hips back so that you can ideally find where your weight is equally distributed. And if it's not, take your block or cushion and just tuck it under the hip. You can stay upright. You can walk out to your forearms, or maybe you stack your fist and you rest your fist or your forehead on your fist. We're going to hold this stretch for about a minute. So I'm going to let you know when we're about halfway there. And that way, if you've adapted to the pose and you need to make it a little more intense, you'll have the option to do so. We're about halfway there. So if you're finding that you're experiencing pigeon pose with more ease, you might want to try to bring the shin just a little bit more parallel to the top of your mat, which is going to require a little more intensity, a little more depth of the stretch. Using our next inhale, slowly draw the chest upright, front leg joins our back leg, and let's have a seat, child's pose. Arms outstretched in front. Maintaining child's pose, go ahead and walk your hands to the left side of the mat, pressing the right hip to the outer edge. Come back to the center, walking hands to the other side, pressing opposite hip out. Coming back to center and taking cat-cow once more. So inhale, dropping into belly, exhale, tucking and rounding. Finishing this last round, and then taking a big step forward with our opposite foot. So we are coming into supported lunge on the opposite side. Making sure that we stack our knee right on top of our heel and then send the hips forward. Maybe come into the top of your thigh or a little deeper still. Inhaling arms overhead, exhaling baby back bend. Inhale, slowly drawing hands to heart center. Exhale, shifting back and finding half splits. So we want to try to keep our spine as long as possible. This leg is straight and we're pulling the big toe to the chin. Many of us have quite a bit of tightness through the hamstrings, so this can feel really intense. So if that's the case, maybe you want to put your hands onto something so you can come up a little bit higher. On our next inhale, bend the knee and slowly heel toe your foot all the way across the mat, making our way into pigeon pose on the opposite side. So again, maybe tucking the toes under to drag the pelvis back, where you can find a nice, equally distributed position with the hips. And this could be the best position, staying upright, or maybe it's coming to your forearms, or even resting forehead here. Breathing into the hips. Sometimes it can help to visualize the breath going into all those tight areas you have in your hip, and then visualize with each exhale those areas releasing and going away, letting go with each exhale, so that we can physically melt or sink our way a little deeper into our mat. Halfway there. So if you need to do anything to make the stretch a little more intense, like bring the shin more parallel to the top of the mat, you can do so now. On our next inhale, you're going to slowly rise up, dropping the weight over to the hip and extending our left leg out. So it's at a 45-degree angle, big toe point straight up to the ceiling. Inhale, right palm up, exhale, reach over. Inhale, bring the palm behind your hip, lift up and back, creating a little spinal extension. If you want more, you can certainly come into shooting star, sending the hips a little taller to the ceiling. Releasing back down and finding cobbler's pose or butterfly sit. We're going to take your palms directly under your ankles and then sit up as tall as you can. For some of us that have tightness in the traps, you might already feel a stretch just sitting tall. We're going to try to inhale just a little more length into the spine, and then exhale left ear over, just like we did in the beginning of class. Inhale your way back to center, and exhale other side. Inhaling center, exhale, turn the nose, look over the left shoulder. Inhale center, exhale other side. Come back to center, and let's release that right leg out to a 45-degree angle. Big toe point straight up. Inhale, left fingertips up and over. Let's inhale, palm comes down behind hips, lift up and over, extension or shooting star, taking it a little bit deeper. Slowly release. And let's go into one more working core pose, Navasana, or boat pose. So we're going to line our hands up behind our hips, and then you're going to try lifting both legs. The important thing is engaging the core, so pulling the navel in towards the spine. For some of us, we may want to stay here with the assistance of our hands. Some of you may be able to extend the arms out, but watch for this. We don't want to round into it. We want the spine long, chest really lifted, shoulders down and back. Squeeze through the core and breathe. 3 full cycles of breath. On our third exhale, we can release and lift the hips, coming into reverse tabletop. When you think you've reached your endpoint, see if you can press the hips up maybe a 1/2 inch higher. On our exhale, slowly releasing tailbone down to the mat, where we tuck it under, roll onto the forearms, and come all the way down onto your backs. Go ahead and inhale, right leg up. So notice my left knee is bent. That's great if your low back is pretty tight today. That might feel best. But if your low back is open and you want to extend the leg out, that will make the stretch a little more intense. Just make sure this foot is flexed. So my extended leg, my left foot, I've got a flexed left foot. I'm pulling the right leg in, my shoulders are down on my mat. And on your next exhale, we'll bend both knees, taking right ankle on top of left, flex the right foot, and then reach behind, hugging this left thigh into the chest. Figure 4. Allow your shoulders to relax into your mat. Release slowly. And go ahead and take opposite leg, extend it all the way up. And you can start with the opposite knee bent. And if you decide to lengthen it, just make sure you flex your foot, pull it in a little bit closer, but relax your shoulders. On our next exhale, let's bend both knees, dropping left ankle over the right. Find your figure 4, flex your foot, and let's hug the right thigh into the chest. Go ahead and release, and take your feet about mat distance apart and start to rock the knees from side to side. Pulling your heels all the way in together, open your arms wide like a T. Pick your hips up, shift them to the left about 2 inches, dropping knees to the right. Spinal twist. If you want to make the twist more intense, go ahead and turn your gaze away. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, shift the hips to the right, an inch, maybe 2. Drop the knees to the left, and if you choose to counter the twist, turn your gaze, look away from your knees. Inhale, bring the knees back to center, and then extend them out, taking one last full body stretch. Make yourself as long as you can, and then begin to settle in to your final relaxation or Shavasana pose. Remember, this does not have to be on your back. So if you're more comfortable, maybe sitting up with the support of the wall behind you, or maybe even side lying, whatever position works best for you is fine. So find that position, close your eyes, and let's give ourselves this time to let our minds and our bodies simply be. Slowly begin to bring your awareness back into the space. Let's awaken the body by gently wriggling fingers and toes. Putting a bend in the knees, we're going to start to rock our knees from side to side, inviting a little bit of motion back. And then the next time your knees fall to the right, you'll just roll over onto your right side Knees bent in fetal position, head and neck resting on our outstretched arm. And then when you're ready, you'll press the left palm into the mat, making your way up to a comfortable seat. Closing with 2 last deep breaths in. First one's a cleansing breath, so we're going to inhale, sweep the arms all the way up overhead. Big audible exhale through the mouth, side out. And one more big breath in. This time we exhale, hands to heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today.